Okay, fantastic. So we'll go ahead and kick it off. I just wanted to say good morning, everyone, again. It's good to see you all, and thanks for joining us if you're watching us on this recording. Thanks for taking the time. Today's session is about the New York Wine and Grape Foundation's export program, as most of you know. Just a little bit of background before we hand it over to our team at Think Drink Global. The foundation has been running this export program since 1993. So it's been a long-standing and important marketing program funded by the USDA for a very long time. And it's really helped put New York wines top of mind for trade, media, and consumers all over the world in the target markets that you, as participants in the export program, tell us that you're interested in each year. So that is determined by you. So we're excited to get going today. I'm pleased to introduce the partners that are leading our efforts in Western Europe. But first, I wanted to just say hi to Sarah Gelpe-Hooker from Bryant Christie International. Bryant Christie, hey, how you doing? I didn't know if you wanted to say a few words or if you wanted me to talk about Bryant Christie, but I'm happy to kind of let you do that.
Sure. So BCI has been partnering with the foundation for the last few years on the export program, and we worked with Val and team to actually select the Think Drink Global team, who is now leading the initiatives in Western Europe. And we're here to support wineries and the foundation team with understanding the opportunities in Western Europe and kind of navigating the export program. So my colleague, Melissa Balding, who is not on today, is somebody who you may see her name floating out there. Please feel free to reach out to Melissa or I if we can help with anything as it pertains to the export program in general.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. And just from a foundation perspective, we absolutely appreciate Sarah's help and Melissa's support. They keep us all organized, all of our teams internationally. They help implement all of the marketing activities. They assist us in monitoring our budgets, and they're really helpful with compliance because they do this work for a number of cooperators all over the United States. So cooperators and those that are funded by the USDA. So we have really embarked over the past 2.5 years on a process of kind of continuous improvement for the export program, very focused on making sure that we are improving marketing activities and compliance activities. And we're excited. Many of you already know this, but we were rewarded for that hard work with a pretty significant increase to our budget this program year. We kind of hovered around the $475,000 mark for our total export program. And this program year that began on July 1st, we're just over $667,000 worth of funding for the entire program year. So significant increase, and we hope that a lot of that is due to the quality improvements that we've made over the past couple of years. So thanks to Bryant Christie for that. And as I mentioned, the export program has really just gotten underway on July 1st, and it's going to run through June 30th of 2023. That's our schedule every year. So for those of you who aren't already in the program and you're wanting to learn more about it, you've got a little bit of time before we really hit the ground running and go full steam ahead with all of the activities that you're going to hear about today. And so with that, we're going to get to the folks that are here to talk about those activities. So I'm happy to turn it over to our partners from Think Drink Global. As Sarah mentioned, TDG was selected through a competitive RFP process. They manage our primarily trade and media focused marketing and educational programs in Western Europe. They have been doing that since July of 2020. And I know that they're going to talk a little bit about this more, but TDG is a fantastic collaboration of 3 veteran wine industry firms, R&R Teamwork, Vin Connexion, O'Donnell Lane. And today we have folks from all 3 of those organizations here today. And I think I'm going to hand it off to Katie Canfield to talk a little bit more about the partnership and then specifically our activities in Western Europe this year, and also kind of market developments in Western Europe that are going to affect those activities. Katie, thanks for being here. It's good to see you.
Thank you,
Hand
Val.
it over to you.
All right. Well, we're very excited to be here. As Valerie mentioned, we are Think Drink Global, and we're a little bit unique in the fact that we're actually 3 agencies in one, so you get a little more bang for your buck. We've got 3, so the 3 agencies are, so myself, Katie Canfield, I represent O'Donnell Lane. We are based in Sonoma, California. We actually do some work with New York Wine and Grape Foundation on the domestic side. And for our WEU partnership, we work with R&R Teamwork, and represented here on the call, we've got Sarah Lechmere, and then we've got Eleanor Standen, and we've got Rosamund Barton. They can all wave, but they are the 3 in London that are really driving all the activities over there. Rosamund is the founder and owner of R&R Teamwork. Eleanor has been kind of the lead on this account, and Sarah and Susanna has really helped us out in the last year or so, really taking a lead on the account as well. And then Vin Connexion in Paris, we have Michelle Piron. Hello. And her team, and they're driving lots of activities in the rest of Europe. So basically, we are really excited to be back here for a 3rd program year. I feel like it's so important to really get to know clients and the ways of working and understanding your needs. And so we feel that we are absolutely well prepared to take us into a 3rd program year and really drive success and new placements and new activities to build awareness for New York wines all across Western Europe. We're going to dive into some different markets. We have a lot of markets, so we don't want to, we understand we've got some, time cap here. So we're not going to go in too much detail about every single one. But I think with the UK, Ireland, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, France, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Finland, these are the focus for us. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Eleanor. She's going to start talking a little more in depth about the UK and Ireland, and we'll go through some of these countries so you can see what we have planned for this upcoming program year.
Thanks, Katie. Hi, everyone. Yes, Katie says excited to be here for a 3rd year. We're just going to start by giving you a quick summary on some of our key markets, and then we'll come on to our plans for the year after we've done that. So as Katie said, Rosamund, myself and Susanna work predominantly on the UK side of things. We've had some real success over the last couple of years in the UK for New York wines, just in terms of education and gaining a bit more recognition and understanding for them here in the UK. This has mainly been through the webinar series that we've done, but also lots of targeted outreach to importers as well as some select media. In terms of the UK market for New York wineries, we think the sort of main opportunities are the independent merchant sector and the on-trade, just simply because of the positioning of New York wines. These are the sectors which really get that hand sell and help to explain and tell the stories behind the wines. Independent sector's great for New York because the owners are very wine knowledgeable and like to talk about the wines that they sell. This sector's seen an increase in sales over the last year. I think during COVID, a lot of it moved online, but they're back to seeing people actually coming into the stores to buy the wine, which is great. Average price per bottle has increased over the last year. It's gone up from about £13.60 to £15.10, which is quite a significant increase over 12 months. And what's interesting about independents, a lot of them do source their wines from importers, but they're also starting to sort of buy direct from wineries as well. So they're expanding their remit, which again gives us another opportunity for wines from New York. In terms of the on-trade, again, wine consumption is increasing a little bit year on year. So that's good opportunities for people buying wines in restaurants. It's also an area where people are willing to spend a little bit more on sort of premiumization to try something a bit special. So a great opportunity for New York. We thought it would be interesting just to highlight some of the trends in the UK at the moment. So no and low alcohol is a big trend. Generation Z, as they call them, a lot of them drink less or don't drink at all. So no and low options are good for them. Sustainability is very big. It's the buzzword, everyone's talking about it. And interestingly, packaging. So as well as alternative formats like cans and bag-in-box, people are also starting to diversify into sustainable packaging, with wineries releasing sort of paperboard bottles and things like that. So really sort of linking packaging with the sustainability trend. We've had a busy year in the UK for New York wines, and what was really exciting was we actually took our first buying trip out to New York at the end of the last programme year. We had 2 buyers come out. Katie very kindly accompanied them, and I think they had a fabulous trip. So thank you to everyone who hosted them, and by the sounds of it, there's some great results sort of following up in terms of follow-up conversations from the trip. So watch this space. In the other side of the water, Ireland is sort of part of our remit as well. Wine's a very popular drink there. I think the nation's 2nd favourite drink, with 32% market share. So again, great opportunities. Over the last year, the on-trade has opened back again after having been closed down and very sort of small scale during COVID. So that's positive. But in conjunction with that, retail has also seen a small uplift on sales as well. At-home consumption remains popular. There's quite an even balance between white and red wine drinking in the country, and rosé is the growing area there as well. Again, in terms of trends, no and low is popular, as is sustainable. They're also quite big on organic wine in Ireland, so just things to sort of flag as interest for you. If Ireland's a market that you're interested in. We had a lovely tasting at the end of the last calendar year in Ireland for a group of wineries who presented their wines to some buyers virtually, and they were very impressed with the quality of the wines. And I know that Dr. Frank now has a listing and is sold via one of the merchants in Ireland as well, so they're starting to gain some traction in Ireland, which is great. I will hand over to Rosamund and Michelle, who are going to take you through Scandinavia next.
Yes, Norway. In Scandinavia, Norway is one of the 3 countries with a monopoly. 26,000 products available online, but only about 200 on shelves of the 330 shops of in monopolet. We count about 400 active importers. One specificity in Norway is a tax on alcohol at customs. Like in most Scandinavian countries, 2/3 of the wines come from Europe. In Norway, they drink 75% red wines. They like wines with minerals and acidity, low alcohol, not too much Adhoc, and sparkling wines are fashionable. As everywhere in Scandinavia, organic wines are trendy, and also environmentally friendly packaging is welcome there. The average price of a bottle in shops is $17, or served in restaurants at $45. We organized for the monopoly a tasting of a wide range of New York wines, which ended with a new listing for a Cabernet Franc as a start with that importer. A small handful of journalists have a lot of influence on the market, and to launch a product, good scores in media are of big importance. Our plan is to invite media and importers to events that will take place in Stockholm and Copenhagen in this fall. And also, one importer and one journalist from Norway will join the late August trip. Now, Denmark. Denmark is the most mature wine market in Scandinavia, a free market. It's the only country with no monopoly. The off-trade represents 90% of sales, of which online and wine shops represent 37%. We indicate 100 full-time importers, and in fact, 1,400 importers are registered, and only 10 of them concentrate 75% of imports. It can be interesting for New York wines to work with smaller importers dedicated to niche products. The biggest importers sell American wines from $20, and the smaller importers sell higher-end American wines from $40 and up. The New York wines present there are mostly Riesling dry and semi-dry and Bordeaux blends. The trend in Denmark is for cool climate wines, single varietal wines, lighter wines. Red wines dominate the market. A few New York wines are already on the market, and they are more known for whites. Concerning the style of wine, the demand for organic wines aligns with 3 trends in Denmark: health, gastronomy, and sustainability concerns. It's interesting to note that Denmark has the highest market share in the world for organic food and drinks. Also, gastronomical influences play an important role. The Danish want quality food and wine, but also lighter food and lighter wines. And food and wine pairing influence their wine selection. American wines are getting more popular in Denmark, mainly in restaurants and among amateurs. As supermarkets only sell wines with volume and lower prices. Sorry. The average price of wine in supermarket is between $7 and $20, yet New York wines sell there for $30 to $60 in wine shops. These prices being comparable to Washington wines. Following a successful masterclass that gathered top sommelier journalists, we hosted in Copenhagen last January an in-person tasting, which met an excellent success.
Right, let's go over to Sweden. Sweden has a diverse and dynamic economy with masses of potential. The monopoly has 450 shops and represents 85% of wine sales by volume. The upmarket restaurants are buoyant with kind of rock star sommeliers, and the average price of wine in them is about $45. These restaurants tend to be in Stockholm with a few in Gothenburg. And interestingly for you guys, many of them are beside the sea or the lakes. The Swedes tend to staycation within their own country. And they all, particularly for the summer, they all go and stay on the lakes or on the seaside, including the much loved royal family who have their own island. So in fact, they have 100,000 lakes. So we were thinking that there could be great synergy with the Finger Lakes there. They buy wines from many countries and tend to go for red wines and wines that are fruity with a hint of sweetness. Sustainable and organic wines sell well. And the good news is that there is a trend for more expensive wines. We're very much looking forward to hosting a trade and journalist event in Stockholm in November, and we'll have some of you guys over there, some of the New York winemakers.
France. France is the #1 producer and consumer country. In France, it is wine shops and sommeliers who are interesting for New York wines, not supermarkets. We do have an interest in high quality New York wines. We like cool climate, dry style wines. We know Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand, Australian Syrah, etc. Yet indigenous varieties are a growing category and maybe another key for the entry of New York wines on the French market. Foreign wines and shops sell between $20 and $35 as an average. In June, we held a masterclass and a walking tasting for trade and media with the US Embassy in Paris, leading to interest from 2 major importers and also from sommelier and media. Another tasting at the US Consulate in Strasbourg in the east of France gathered a few influential people, among whom one of the best sommeliers of the world. Once some wines are in the listings, we will communicate to media and sommelier, and I really do hope that we find some New York wines in France, because I don't know, I haven't found really any. Now, Belgium. Belgium is a small country, yes, yet it is the #5 of all countries for wine imports, and it represents 5% of world wine imports. There are over 700 importers of all sizes, some really small. Supermarkets represent 76% of the volume, and they propose quality wines too in supermarkets in Belgium. And also more and more wine shops are excellent. Online sales developed post-COVID, but remain limited as the Belgian amateur likes to buy his bottle in a shop. Belgium is a challenging market with 2 faces. Wallonia is more France-oriented with a more traditional taste, while the Flemish have a more international taste, and Brussels lays in between. The Flemish drink more white wines, and in Brussels, more reds. In Belgium, a good producer is a small producer. Big brands' market shares rarely reach 1%. Belgian wine lovers even know more about wine than French or German fans. We may compare them to the Swiss and the Japanese. In Belgium, they like biodynamic and natural wines. Sparkling wines account for 1 in every 5 bottles purchased. They dislike sugar. They mistrust California wines because they are not cool climate. They like Oregon wines. The feedback we had from our presentation in Brussels last January is indeed this recognition of cool climate wines for New York wines. Cool climate style for New York wines, excuse me. The average price of a bottle is $6 in supermarkets and $12 in wine shops. Yet prices may go much higher depending on quality and if the wine offers an added value.
So let's hop across to Holland, the Netherlands. This is a truly international country with many foreigners working there and visiting. The biggest sales are still through supermarkets, but wine shops have a healthy 20% of the market. They really love wines from anywhere around the world, and they have many global cuisine styles. The restaurant scene is buzzing, and 3 central places, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and The Hague. They like reds and whites and increasingly rosé and sparkling wines, including red sparkling, which is new for them. But interestingly, the real USP for them is the style taste profile rather than the country of origin or the grape variety. And as I said at the beginning, they're very international, so they like wines from every country. And there's a rise in interest, again, in organic and sustainable wines. So we're not doing anything particularly in the Netherlands, but obviously we're inviting the trade and media to our webinar series, and Michelle continues to be in touch with them all the time. So hopping over to the largest country, which is Germany. So the Federal Republic of Germany really is huge. It has 16 federal states and 4 geographic regions: North, Central, Southern, and Alpine. So every region is really different. They're the biggest importing country in Europe. And of course, as you know, they all make a hell of a lot of their own wines, including a lot of Riesling. So half of the wines sold in the country are German. The supermarkets continue to be the biggest sellers, and they're very happy to buy from all regions of the world. They don't particularly choose wines by grape variety, but they just like easy, fruity styles. As many of you probably know, we have a top writer from German magazines, Weinwelt, Wienem, Fullstuff, André Dominé, visiting later this month. He's so excited. He's been trying to go to Finger Lakes for, I think, about 2 years. So lockdown didn't help, but he's very excited. So Finland, I'm so happy because I presented Finland last year as the happiest country in the world to live in, apparently. And it's continuing to be the happiest country in the world to live in, apart from the fact that they've got very expensive wines. Alcohol is very expensive there. But the monopoly shops account for 65% of sales. And this is a marketplace for discovering wines from many different countries. There's a growth of on-trade importers, and they like wines basically which have character and which have stories. They're also very health conscious, and they love spas. I don't know if that goes together. We'll be inviting at least one Finnish member of the wine trade to our Swedish event, as there's lots of travel between the 2 countries. And that.
Cool. So that's a very quick whistle-stop tour around our main markets in Europe. I know from feedback that the foundation received, Scandinavia is a big focus for a lot of the wineries over there. So that's going to be one of our main focuses for activities this year. So we'll start with that one. As mentioned, in November, we're looking to do a tasting and a road trip to 2 countries in Scandinavia, Stockholm in Sweden and Copenhagen in Denmark. We're hoping to get 3 winemakers over to come and represent New York so that we can organise a tasting in Stockholm. That will be the first time we've done any activity there. So we'll be showcasing a wide variety of wines, show the diversity of wines from the state. And then after that, we will hop over to Copenhagen to do a follow-up smaller seminar presented by the winemakers and also a leading sommelier from Denmark, followed by a tasting and opportunity for winemakers to talk to guests. In terms of target guests, we'll be looking to basically get as many people from the wine trade as we can, so targeting importers, sommeliers, media, influencers, educators. But the plan is to not just invite them from Sweden and Denmark, but also get some key people over from Norway in particular, and other key markets as well. So hopefully get some people over from the UK, possibly France and Finland as well. And really our aim with these events is just to showcase the diversity of New York to potential partners in our key markets over here in Europe. So that's going to be one of our main activities this year.
And back due to popular demand, we will also be carrying on with the New York State of Wine webinars. So this has taken some different forms in previous program years. We did reduce the number of webinars last year to just 3 during the entire program year, which worked very well. So we're going to continue that frequency. We've got 3 scheduled, so they will take place on the 15th of November, the 21st of February, and the 23rd of May. And for this year, we really wanted to focus on, what intrigues us most about New York State, which is, the elements, right? The bodies of water, the different soils. So we're focused on the elements. And so the first webinar's theme will be earth, the second will be water, and the third will be wine. So across the board, we're going to be focused on, bringing the winemakers to the front and center so that we can reach those markets that we might not be, doing physical in-person activities, so that we can bring New York winemakers to them virtually. So each webinar will feature winemaker panelists. We're kind of finalizing our lists and kind of opening bottle books. So people will be able to register for those webinars. And then we've had great attendance in previous program years and anticipate that it will be the same. We've now adopted tasting kits. So we can actually have the attendees taste with the winemaker panelists. And we'll continue that again this year. And we will have Jamie Good as our host across the 3 webinars. So we think it'll be a very nice way to kind of tie all 3 together, and yet we'll be representing different wineries in each of those webinars. So keeping them kind of different as well, and something new for the attendees. So if you have any questions regarding webinars, I lead sort of that piece, that activity, because you might wonder why somebody from Sonoma is involved with Western Europe, but that's my role. So feel free to get in touch.
Inbound trade missions. 4 guests, 1 from France, 1 from Germany, and 2 from Norway, will visit Finger Lakes and Long Island this August, with articles commissioned in trade press and consumer press in Norway, Germany, France, as a motivation for potential and current importers. The itinerary will be finalized soon. And I am personally so happy to come with them after discovering the wines and the people behind the wines at a distance for 2 years.
So to back up, there are 3 main activities, and then as we have done in previous years, we'll back these up with strategic ad hoc opportunities over the course of the programme year. We're looking to do some work with the IWSC Awards in the UK, try and get some New York wines entered into their annual awards so that we can start to get a bit more buzz for New York wines amongst the trade over here. But also, as in previous years, just looking for suitable media partnerships and ad hoc opportunities to put New York wines in front of influential people where we can. So more to follow on those. Those of you who've worked with us for a couple of years will know that in previous years we've done some one-to-one sessions on the different markets. We're going to approach these slightly differently this year, as we've got a brilliant expert who's got knowledge across a lot of the major European markets. And we're going to do some sessions on the 20th of September where she will do one-to-ones with wineries to talk about 2 to 3 different countries that you're interested in, be able to answer questions that you've got and give you some advice. After this session, the foundation will send out an email with details on how to register for those. So if that's something that you'd like to be involved with, please do sign up and indicate which markets are of interest, and then we can hopefully get you scheduled in to have a session at a time that suits you. But if there's other markets, or if you've not got the time to do this, we do still have quite detailed overview documents on each of our markets that we've had available in previous years. So feel free to reach out if there's specific markets that you're interested in finding out more about, and we can share these on email with you at your convenience. So that's our year wrapped up quite neatly, hopefully. Lots to do, but lots of exciting activities that we can get involved with. And yeah, we're just really excited to get going. So if anyone's got any questions or wants to find out more about anything, please shout out.
Eleanor, can I ask a question, or can I ask you to explain something? I know you mentioned, or someone mentioned, bottle books in brief, and I know that there are some new wineries that are listening in live here and some that might be viewing the recording. I was just wondering if you could explain the process. Some of our events are kind of open invitation and any winery can kind of submit wines for an event, and some are by invitation only. But as I understand it, all of the kind of outreach, if you're submitting wines for event, all of the submissions of wines goes through a platform called Bottle Book. So if you can talk a little bit about that, or that would be great, or someone on the team. Yeah, so Bottle Books, it's actually it's been a really helpful tool in the last 12 months for registering participants in activities. So I think the BCI team initiated it for us originally, but we've used it a lot over here in Europe. So each winery has a profile, and you'll be invited to sign up for different events and submit wines. And it just means that rather than you having to send individual wine details to us by email and toing and froing, everything's contained on one system, and we can download all the information we need and pull off lists of wines. So it's worked very well, and that would be how we would issue invitations to take part in things like the Scandinavia tour, the webinars, and probably some of the other activities that we're doing as well. I guess, Sarah, if we've got new wineries joining, your team could probably help them with getting profiles set up and everything. Yeah, absolutely. And I agree, it's been helpful for our team as well in setting up and managing these events. And we hope it has also helped wineries and streamline the process for them. You know, once you upload your wines for the year, you should be able to easily select them for shipments and events kind of as they come up. So it avoids us asking for the same thing over and over again throughout the year. Thank you. Well, I'm not hearing any other questions, and I have a tough time with silence, so I'll ask another one. Is there a shipment coming up? And I'm just being honest. Is there a shipment coming up that folks should be aware of? Yes, we are just starting to get everything arranged for our next shipment. So we're aiming to get wines into the UK and France for the start of October. So watch your inboxes over the next couple of weeks, because we'll be starting to reach out to you to be involved in Scandinavia tour.
Also, we'll be reaching out to the wineries that we'd like to be panelists for the first 2 webinars. So we're going to get the wine shipped over for the November webinar and the February webinar. I know also for those of you who have participated in the GBI trip, there might be some follow-up samples requested from John and Chris if they've been in conversation with you about potentially working together following the trip. So that will be another thing that we'll be reaching out about. And once we've got a few more details locked down about the IWSC awards, we'll also be circulating that so that people can understand how to get involved and looking to get some wines on the next shipment for that. So there's lots of activities that are going to be coming together in the next couple of weeks. So yes, watch your inboxes for more information.
And one last question, and then I promise I'll be done. So in terms of the November trip, when do you have a target date by which you want to notify the wineries or send out the invites? Because I know travel is tough these days, and everybody's schedule, especially around October, November time, might be tough. So when would you like to get those invites out, or when are you targeting that for travel?
We'd be looking at the week commencing, or the week of the 7th of November for the events to take place. The actual dates are TBC. And I guess we probably need to have a conversation amongst ourselves about who we could get over to represent New York for the events. But we'll obviously be opening it up to all participants to submit samples. So even if you don't travel over, we'd still love to show your wines. We're just waiting for the company that we work with in Denmark to come back on a few queries so that we can lock down the dates. But the plan is probably within the next week to 10 days to get details out on bottle books so that people can start signing up and registering wines for the events.
That's excellent. Okay, anybody else? Any questions, comments, or feedback from even last year? Happy to have it.
Yeah, it'd be good to know what you feel worked well in Europe, or what you think were successful activities.
I'm going to call on Oscar. Oh, there you go.
I know, I'm just, since I don't like silence. No, I had also questions about the Scandinavia trip, which I was initially suggested or involved in. So I'll look forward to those emails when they come out then, when those things are happening. We've had some, I think, over the last 2 years, or 3 years now, with all these online seminars and all of your activity. I've been in contact with a few of us. There's some great success stories in both in England and in Sweden, and I know Red Newt did well in Norway also. We just got some orders from Belgium, from Luke, at Swafu, and we're looking into we're feeling and hearing demands from Western Europe. So just need the dollar to get a little solid, not to be so strong. And then I think we're going to be good. But I just want to say thank you for all the efforts. It's been great. We're hitting it on many cylinders here. So that's all.
Thank you. Thank you for participating.
All right. Well, with that, Sarah, did you have anything else that you wanted to say in closing? But I'm happy to close it up.
Nothing else from my side. Just thanks to the wineries for your participation in the program, and we're looking forward to another strong year of working together and continuing to make progress in Western Europe and beyond.
Thank you. And thanks, Sarah and the team at TBG. We know this is a lot of time and effort on everybody's part, but it's definitely, as Oscar said, it's making a difference. We've heard it's making a difference, not only internationally, but in target markets, even here at home, like New York City and San Francisco. So happy to have all of that happening. It's kind of, it's the big cycle, and hopefully it's working and we see it working. So it is because of the time and effort you're putting in. So we couldn't thank you enough, and we hope to be in touch soon. And hopefully we will actually meet you at some point soon, Eleanor and Michelle and Raza. Great to see you in these boxes, but hopefully we'll see you live soon.
That would be the dream.
Fantastic. Great. Fantastic. Thanks for your time, and have a great rest of your day.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.